Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Friday, October 23, 2020. CNN report. Jeff Bridges' lymphoma diagnosis made me think of my own. Tom Goldstone is the executive producer of CNN's Fareed Zakaria GPS. He sits on the board of the Lymphoma Research Foundation. The views expressed in this commentary are his own. View more opinion at CNN, and the dude will abide cancer. At least that's my most sincere hope for Jeff Bridges, the Oscar-winning actor who played the character, the dude, in that most excellent 1998 film, The Big Lebowski.
Deutsche Welle report. Coronavirus Digest. France surpasses 1 million cases as curfew extended. The National Health Agency said more than 42,000 new cases had been recorded in the past 24 hours as the second wave of the pandemic takes hold. Earlier, French President Emmanuel Macron, on a visit to a hospital near Paris, told the public to expect the virus to remain for several more months. When I listen to scientists, I see that projections are for at best until next summer, he said, adding it was too early to say if France was headed towards new full or partial lockdowns.
CNN report. Credit scores hit a record high, but U.S. consumers are not okay. Millions of Americans are out of work and struggling to get by as the economy continues to reel from the pandemic. Yet one measure of consumers' financial health is improving, at least on paper. Credit scores rose to an average 711 in July, an all-time high since tracking began in 2005 and 5 points higher than a year ago, according to the Fair Isaac Corporation, which calculates FICO scores, the most commonly used scoring system.
BBC report. Golden Dawn's Pappas on the run as colleagues start jail terms. Christos Pappas, 58, defied the court order and reports said Greek police were searching for him. Earlier this month, the entire leadership of Golden Dawn was convicted of running a criminal organization. Party leader Nikos Mykololiakos and senior colleagues were given 13 years in jail, after a 5-year trial. Golden Dawn had 18 MPs elected amid Greece's crippling financial crisis in 2012, but a criminal inquiry began into the party the following year after the murder of an anti-fascist musician.
Al Jazeera report. Gunfire erupts in Guinea as president heads for third term. Gunfire rang out across Guinea's capital Conakry on Friday as security forces attempted to disperse protesters after results showed President Alpha Condé winning a high-stakes election that the opposition denounced as unconstitutional. Condé, 82, won twice as many votes as his nearest rival, opposition candidate Cellou Dalein Diallo, with 37 of 38 districts counted, according to preliminary results from the Election Commission.
Fox report. Ex-con shot and killed by California officer in incident caught on video. Cell phone video shot by a bystander captured part of a shooting in which a California officer shot and killed an ex-con who police say had pulled a gun from his pocket. It happened Thursday night in San Bernardino in the parking lot of a liquor store. Police identified the man killed as Mark Matthew Bender Jr., a 35-year-old San Bernardino resident. They said his lengthy rap sheet includes an arrest for attempted murder.
Al Jazeera report. Libya timeline. Haftar's offensive to a ceasefire. Libya's rival administrations signed a ceasefire more than 18 months after renegade commander Khalifa Haftar launched an offensive to seize the capital, Tripoli, from the United Nations recognized government. Here is a timeline of events. On April 4, 2019, Haftar orders his troops to advance on Tripoli, the seat since 2016 of the UN-recognized Government of National Accord (GNA), which he claims is backed by terrorist groups.
Fox report. New Hampshire restaurant opts to shut down rather than enforce face mask mandate. A New Hampshire restaurant closed instead of complying with the state's coronavirus mask mandate. Rosalind Homemade Ice Cream and Lunch in Epping served its last meal earlier this week after owners Joe Bolge and Doreen Hisselton received a call from the state attorney general's office. A customer had reported the restaurant for not complying with the state's face mask protocol. Rather than comply with the measure, Bolge decided to close his restaurant.
Fox report. U.S. Embassy in Turkey issues alert on potential attacks. Istanbul, the U.S. Embassy in Turkey issued a security alert Friday, saying it received reports of a possible attack on Americans and other foreigners, and temporarily suspended consular services. The U.S. mission in Turkey has received credible reports of potential terrorist attacks and kidnappings against U.S. citizens and foreign nationals in Istanbul, including against the U.S. Consulate General, as well as potentially other locations in Turkey, the embassy said in a statement.
Deutsche Welle report. Nagorno-Karabakh, U.S. hosts warring parties as fighting rages. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Friday held separate talks with his Armenian and Azeri counterparts to try to bring an end to the conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan's foreign ministry, along with its Armenian equivalent, ruled out a three-way meeting in Washington after two separate Russian-brokered ceasefires broke down within hours over the previous 2 weekends. The decades-long conflict between the two former Soviet republics over the disputed region flared up again on September 27 and has already killed about 1,000 people.
BBC report. Sudan-Israel relations agreed, Donald Trump announces. There had been growing speculation Sudan would announce ties in return for being removed from the U.S. list of state sponsors of terrorism. Sudan had been a foe of Israel since the latter's founding in 1948. It comes weeks after similar moves by the United Arab Emirates (UAE) and Bahrain. The two Gulf states became the first in the Middle East to recognize Israel in 26 years. Jordan signed a peace deal with Israel in 1994, and Egypt in 1979.
BBC report. Nigeria End Sars protests. President Buhari says 69 killed in unrest. The fatalities include civilians, police officers and soldiers, he said. Amnesty International said earlier this week that at least 56 people had died since the protests began, including 12 protesters killed in Lagos on Tuesday. A group that has been key in organizing the demonstrations has now urged people to stay at home. The feminist coalition also advised people to follow any curfews that may be in place in their states.
CNN report. Trump makes return to much-changed Mar-a-Lago. In Mar-a-Lago's disco-lit main ballroom, he watched as a large crowd serenaded his son's girlfriend while sparklers flared. On the stone dining patio, he hosted the Brazilian president for talks as diners sat at tables nearby, crammed together like normal. Eager to appear like everything was fine, he shook hands and spoke at close range with members and guests, which that weekend included a roster of congressmen, Fox News personalities and family members.
Al Jazeera report. American voter, Lila Ann Weller. U.S. President Donald Trump and his Democratic challenger Joe Biden are battling for the presidency in a sharply divided United States. Trump has been focusing on law and order. Biden has been trying to strike a conciliatory note. The Black Lives Matter movement, and whether Trump will release his taxes are among the many issues Americans will consider when choosing their president. As the hotly contested election approaches, Al Jazeera has been speaking to voters across the U.S. asking 9 questions to understand who they are supporting and why.
Deutsche Welle report. German-Iranian women's rights activist detained in Tehran. German-Iranian women's rights activist Nahid Taghavi has been arrested in Iran, the Frankfurt-based International Society for Human Rights (ISHR) said Friday. Citing information provided by her daughter, ISHR said Taghavi was detained on October 16 and accused of endangering security. ISHR said the 66-year-old is being held in solitary confinement at Tehran's notorious Evin prison. The jail has housed political prisoners since the 1970s and has been dubbed Evin University because of the number of academics detained there.
Fox report. Tip leads to arrest in Wisconsin. Cold case hit and run that killed 2 men. Wisconsin authorities say a tip has led to an arrest in a 6-year-old hit-and-run case that killed 2 friends. Deputies had been seeking the driver of a pickup that mowed down Richard Kobane Jr., 41, and Benjamin Juarez, 28, on a snow-covered road on tribal land in Polk County in January 2014. They were fighting over the keys to Kobane's vehicle when they were struck. On Wednesday, Polk County Sheriff Brent Walk announced the arrest of Andrew Endress, 32, of Randolph, Minn.
CNN report. Bellingcat. Russian scientists secretly developing Novichok nerve agent and working with military intelligence. The investigative group Bellingcat has uncovered new details about Russia's development of the Novichok nerve agent, which was used against the former Russian agent Sergei Skripal in England in 2018 and the Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny in August. After analyzing phone and travel records of Russian research scientists and officials, Bellingcat found frequent contacts between the director of a military science research institute in St.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.